Your Honor, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
For those of you just joining me on our podcast, on our Facebook page, and also on our YouTube channel, we have the Honorable Tony King, who is the Chief District Court Judge here in Fayetteville, District Attorney Billy West, who's been District Attorney as long as I can remember. But Ed Grandis is who you kind of took over from.
I did. He was DA for 35 years.
35 years.
I took over in 2011, so 15 or 16 years now. But
well, it's good to have you here. And Your Honor, Jim Ammons, you retired. Was it earlier this year or last year?
It's not yet, Gilbert. Don't push me out the door. I've got until December 31st of this year. I was in court yesterday.
What? Sorry, Your Honor, but I still have the right to remain silent here, and I'm going to do that. Let me bring your camera up here so we can put you. So now, but this is now we can bring your camera up here.
I'm used to my power running out, Gilbert. Everybody ignores me now.
Man, well, let me see. I can't remember my code here now from that flub. Here we go. There you go. Now you're going to come up on the camera here. Hey, Vic Frost, is Vic still there? Yeah,
He coming.
Okay, somebody bring me that tripod here, because, yeah, bring that tripod in here. Because in my old age, I'll be 71 Sunday, and I'm doing like this now. Hard to believe.
Hey, Vic.
Thank you, sir. Good grief.
Good.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Vic is in training to do things here.
Vic is awesome.
You know Vic, don't you?
I do.
Do you guys know Vic Frost?
I don't think so.
Well, Vic.
Nice to meet you, Vic.
Yes, sir.
Vic used to be the program director here at Magic 106.9, and ironically, he hired me years ago to do weekends, and now here he is. I don't believe I made that mistake. All right, but anyway, we got you, Your Honor. We have you up now. There you go. Boom. My apologies for kicking you off the bench sooner than necessary, but it's interesting. It's not that you want to leave. There's a requirement for you to leave. Tell us about that.
Well, the legislature has what we call
You got his mic? Okay.
the legislature has what we call mandated senility. Judges, at least Superior Court judges and District Court judges, or at least some of us, have to retire at 72. I just turned 71 in June, so even though I was eligible for re-election, I chose not to. I didn't think it was fair to the people to ask them for an 8-year term when I could only serve 1 year. So I chose not to run for re-election, so my term runs out December 31st of this year. It's interesting, however, that the legislature has just created 3 new Superior Court judgeships, and they don't have to retire till they're 78. Appellate judges don't have to retire till they're 76. So I guess what we do, Tony, is much, much more important than what the appellate courts do, because we have to quit at 72. And as I tell the Chief Justice, they can totter along till they're 76.
And if you had your druthers, you would not retire, I'm assuming.
I've had a long career, very happy with my career, 45 years working there in the building as an attorney, prosecutor, district court judge, Superior Court judge, and now the senior resident for the last 13 years. I would stay if I could, but I'm happy to move on to the next stage of my life. My son and his daughter my son and his wife just had my first grandchild about 3 weeks ago, so I'm looking forward to spending a lot more time with family.
Right now, let me see, bring all 4 of you up on the screen at one time here. You have to be an attorney before you can be a judge. Is that correct?
In North Carolina, that is true.
North Carolina. And Billy, you've been district attorney. I mean, we're joking, you've been a long time, but Ed Grandis was in that position for quite some time. And all of you have seen stuff in the courtroom that raises your eyebrow. When it comes to security, for example, there is a new push to have a private security company come in and provide some relief for the Cumberland County deputies who are manning the doors, is the way I understand it. So the security company will man the doors, which will allow the sheriff's office to have more deputies to make their way around and be in the courtrooms. Your thoughts about that process? Because this is not the only county that's doing that. Billy, you want to talk about that a little?
Sure. I applaud the county and the sheriff's office for making that move. It's something we've been talking about for a while. Judge Ammons and Judge King both have been passionate about that issue.
I don't want you behind the mic. You just move over this way a little bit so there we can see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Judge Ammons, Judge King have been passionate about that issue and showed a lot of leadership in that area, telling the county as well as the sheriff's office that we needed more security in the courthouse. And so my understanding is the plan is private security will be manning the doors, entranceways to the courthouse, while we'll still have the deputies in the hallways and in the courtrooms to make sure that the public is safe, the judges are safe, and everyone working in there is safe. So it's an important step. A lot of larger municipalities are doing it. Wake County, Mecklenburg County, Guilford County, I think, just to name a few. So we have followed suit, and hopefully it'll relieve some pressure off the sheriff's office while also making sure that everybody's secure while they're doing their business in the courthouse.
Yeah, and it's no secret that a lot of law enforcement agencies are struggling to man their get enough manpower to do their normal jobs, either in the sheriff's office and serving warrants or doing their day-to-day jobs and investigating crimes in the community and that type of thing. So this will provide the sheriff's office a little leeway to have a little more flexibility with the sworn officers, I think.
Yes.
Your Honor, when you heard about this, what came to your head?
I was extremely happy that got passed. Certainly, Billy was nice to really include me, but we do have a group that we call JDAM that has worked really hard towards it. But Judge Ammons has championed it. I don't think that's a secret to our committee. But it's definitely, when you think about all of the things that you've heard in the news, what happened to our colleagues at Wake County, and what we see just around the nation, it's just really going to make our courthouse safer, the people that work there safer, and certainly the citizens that come in.
I'm sure all of you, and including me, in covering news at the courthouse, have seen incidents where you were saying, "Oh my God, that was a close call." Your Honor, was there something that triggered in any of your courtrooms that you said, we really need to do a little bit more than we're doing?
Well, having worked there 45 years, I remember when there was no security in the courthouse. About in the 80s, we had a fellow bring C4 into the courtroom, sit there during his trial, and then trying to detonate it shortly after he was convicted by a jury. That was about 1986. In the 90s, we had a guy come in front door with a can of gasoline that said gas on it, a red can of gasoline, walked right into a courtroom in front of Judge Keever, poured the gas all over his head and pulled out a match, tried to light it up. Fortunately, Ed Brady and some of our deputies stopped him. I tried a murder case about 2 years ago with a defendant in custody, a jury trial with one bailiff. We had to depend on my staff and the clerk staff to help with the duties of the bailiffs. It's just been a situation where people aren't safe. And we require a lot of people to come to the courthouse. We require jurors to come down there. We require people to come down to get birth records, land records, and people need to feel safe in the courthouse. They need to not only feel safe, but be safe.
All right, if you're just joining me right now, we have Superior Court Judge Jim Ammons here, who I kicked off the bench already early, and it's not time to go yet. You have until December before you're forced to retire, and I can hear in the tone of your voice that that's not what you want to do, but it's going to happen just because of what the requirements are by law. Billy West is the district attorney here in Cumberland County, and Toni King is the chief district court judge. And you guys come here, at least Toni King comes every other Wednesday to bring us some information about what's going on in the courthouse. We're going to hold you over for a second. We're going to take a second right now to check out the local forecast and come back with you. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. We've got Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Today will be partly cloudy with a high of 96. We will be mainly dry, but a stray thunderstorm is still possible. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low of 74, and Thursday will be mostly sunny with a high of 98. Hot, near triple-digit heat is expected through the end of the week before a weak cold front temporarily drops temperatures for the weekend, and then we're hot again next week. That is your Fayetteville forecast. I'm CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Rachel, you're doing a fine job. You deserve a raise. 75 degrees right now in Fayetteville, Hope Mills, and also at Fort Bragg. You're listening to News Talk 640 with WFNC.
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text HIM to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text HIM to 215215. That's HIM to 215215. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Paid for by Adaptive Health.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Bass Air Conditioning, the name you trust for heating and air.
If your HVAC or plumbing isn't doing its job, why DIY when you've got a guy? For a limited time, get $75 off repair or service, plus great rebates and low monthly payment options on new HVAC systems and water heaters. We also have free estimates, second opinions, and fast installs too. Visit us online at bass-air.com.
Bass Air Conditioning, we're your comfort guys.
When was the last time your CPA brought you a strategy that dramatically saved you taxes? This is Roger Harris, president of Whitehorse Financial. The two biggest robbers of wealth are debt and taxes. Our team of tax attorneys and tax planners help successful people legally pay less tax. If you have over $1 million in retirement accounts, or you're selling a business or real estate, we may be able to help. Call 910-339-2625 for a 15-minute discovery call, or visit whitehorse-financial.com.
Good morning, Fayetteville with Gilbert Bays on WFNC News Talk 640 AM and now on 103.5 HD2 WFNC.
News Talk 640 WFNC. What a day this has been. You know, I've got 4 people in here, and I always, let me see if my aerial shot is working. Yeah, I've got the drone up right now inside the studio. You can see Jim AMMONS, Billy West, and Tony King in here. Every Wednesday, every other Wednesday, Judge King comes in. We talk all things Cumberland County Court. You've got something coming up that you want to share with everyone.
Yes, we have partnered with All Rise to bring the Sesame Street training to Cumberland County. We are one of, I think, 10 courts across the nation that were chosen, and they're actually bringing it here. And so we're going to have an opportunity to train our community partners on how to engage with young children who are dealing with violence in the home or substance abuse.
And of course, obviously, Sesame Street theme is well known by kids.
Yes.
And so how does that work?
Well, they are bringing in their trained professionals here. They're paying for the entire training. And we've invited 65 participants from different community agencies to come in and get that training and take in all of those resources. It's a full day. We will have our Chief Justice come down and give a welcome. Mission Barbecue, I have to give a shameless plug, but I'd like to thank Eric. They have donated the lunch for all of the participants, and then all of our Walmarts have chipped in to provide some snacks and refreshments.
You know, all 3 of you have dealt with cases involving juveniles or dealing with kids. They've got to be the hardest cases for you to deal with. Billy, let's talk about that a little bit. Not looking for any particular case, but I've interviewed countless occasions after a first appearance, for example, at the Cumberland County Detention Center, where someone has been, bond was set, and you've come out and talked about the emotion of that, not only for the people that investigated, but obviously for the family as well.
Yeah, any cases with children specifically are very difficult. We all have children that we know and love, and we certainly identify with folks that are going through tragedy when it involves a child. And so a lot of times for me, those are the cases that stick out through the years, are when the victims are children. They're innocent in many cases. There was no way they could have avoided the situation they were in that led to them being a victim of a crime, and certainly some of the most tragic situations that we've seen through the years.
Most recently there was one where the kids were missing for years, and all of a sudden they found the DNA associated with the children inside the backyard. I remember being out in the neighborhood while all the investigation was going on, and it ended up being the stepmother, I think, who ended up being charged in the case, and that trial continues to go through the court system as well. But there's been countless times that we've seen kids either injured or killed at the hands either by accident or just tragic situations. And then it has to go through the court process. Your Honor, as a Superior Court judge, do you get cases like that? Or we start in district court? How does that work?
Well, generally, most of our cases start in the district court. Some of them eventually make their way up to me. I was a certified juvenile court judge, district court judge for 10 years, and saw a lot of bad abuse and neglect cases. Tony has to deal with that. Billy deals with them from the very beginning. And they weigh on you after a while. I just went through a training with the Superior Court judges that talked about the stress that we carry over the years from having to deal with those. And it reminded me that one of my very first cases when I was a Superior Court judge down in Lumberton involved a child abuse. And I remember crying as I was sentencing the guy. And I'm going, why am I crying? I'm a judge. I'm supposed to be composed. But I had tears coming down my face as I sentenced the man. And that's been 25 years ago. Of course, the Shania Davis case was a tough case. We all have tough cases, but that's part of the job. And but also part of it is realizing the residual stress and trauma that we carry sometimes too.
Well, and you bring up a good point, because all three of you can suffer from PTSD. You don't have to be in a battle zone because of the things that you see. And even if you think about having a trial and having to have family members relive the evidence and it being presented up on the screen, the shots of the victim, the shots from the morgue or whatever it might be, is traumatizing. And a lot of these cases are settled with a plea deal, so families don't have to go through that. Billy, talk about that, because, if every trial or every case that is presented through the district attorney's office had to go to trial, we would be in court forever. And so deals are made, and sometimes people don't understand why that's the best court recourse.
Yeah, I think nationwide, and it's true in our state as well, about 98, 99% of cases resolved by plea. And I think I've heard it said before, I think it's a good way of explaining it, like to call it a plea agreement and not a plea deal. I think a lot of times people think, they don't want someone to get a plea deal, that being that they should get less punishment that they deserve and that sort of thing. A plea agreement sort of constitute an agreement between the prosecutor and the defendant through his attorney, and also the victim has had input, and we have talked with them about what the agreement will be. And
or the victim's family.
That's right. That's right. The victim or victim's family in a homicide. And in many, many cases, I've sat across the table from many victims of crime, sexual assault and that sort of thing, as well as families that have lost somebody in a homicide. And they've said specifically, if we can avoid going through the difficulty of a trial, and we also have the certainty of what that sentence is going to be, because a lot of times with the plea agreement, the defendant's going to be receiving a specific punishment, and they know what that punishment is. When you submit that case to a jury for determination, they can find them not guilty. They can find them guilty of a lesser offense. If the evidence is not there, these judges have to not let the case proceed legally. So there's a lot of hurdles there. And so a plea agreement gives a lot of certainty in those areas, and in many cases is the best resolution for everybody involved.
Right, but most times the judges go along with the agreement. But have there been a case where either one of you two said, nah, I don't like this deal, or I don't like how the defendant is acting in court right now, smirking at the family or whatever it might be? Your Honor, either one of you, have you said, no, we're not going to do this. Let's go back to the drawing boards on the deal?
Billy and his team do a wonderful job in negotiating these plea agreements, even in district court. But there have been times where I have rejected the agreement just based on something that I saw in the case or with regard to the sentencing. So I have rejected some, not very often.
Yeah, Your Honor, Jim Ammons?
Yeah, I've rejected some too, but I think that's part of the job of the judge is to be a gatekeeper. Occasionally you'll have families that don't agree with it. Occasionally you'll see something in the case that you, just as a person, can't say, I can put my stamp on this. On our form that the plea agreements come to us is a place where the judge can reject it, and they can take it to another judge, or they can go back and modify it. And sometimes they have brought me back something, or I'll ask them, tell me why I need to take this agreement. Tell me what I don't know about this. And Billy's correct. You never know what a jury's going to do. There's lots of things that can go wrong in a case through fault of nobody. You know, juries today want DNA, they want fingerprints, and they want the bank down the street to caught the whole thing on a camera. They want it like it is on TV, and it just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, and this is all about closure for families.
Right.
And I think that's the bottom line. We hear that word closure a lot, and a lot of family members, and we've seen this happen, where they say, well, I'm going to accept this, and I forgive the person who killed my loved one, because not for them, but for me. Do you hear that in the dialogue, Billy, when you're talking with victims?
You do. I have been in awe of some victims and victims' families, and their ability to forgive what happened, even though they understand the process and they still want to see that person held accountable for what happened. But I have seen that, and it's extraordinary when somebody can do that and in that circumstance.
All right. Well, look, we're running about out of time here. Your Honor, we appreciate your service all these years. I don't know how many times I'm going to get the chance to see you again on camera, but I'd love to have you come back in before your time is up in December.
That's right.
Okay.
Glad to do it, Gilbert.
All right, well, we'll get you back on. Because, you know, a lot of people don't know that all three of you are more than just a Superior Court judge, District Court judge, attorney. You got kids. You live in this community. And Boy Scouts, you still doing Boy Scout stuff?
I am.
See? So, I mean, there's a lot of people don't know about what you do. And, you know, the last thing you want to find out about someone is you're standing in front of a judge and he says you're going to jail for 12 years. You know, we should get to know our judges before election time. And I've always told you, Your Honor, you know, that I appreciate the fact that you both allow cameras in court when you can. I understand when there's a juvenile situation you can't. But the people need to see you guys doing the people's work. And there's no better time to do that than you have a case, especially one that's a high-profile case, to allow the media to come in and get a chance to get a perspective of it and condense down 5 days of trials and Michael Jordan's father's death and make it palatable for folks, because it's a difficult thing for people to understand. But we appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of our community.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Anybody got a last word?
I just want to say how proud I am to work with Billy and Tony and the other members of our JDAM, our clerk, and our public defender, Adam Phillips. We have a great team. I'm going to miss that most of all. And I'm proud that these folks have been out in the community like I have over the last many, many years, not only as an elected official, politician, and a member of the community, trying to do good things in our community.
All right. Judge Ammons, Judge King, District Attorney Billy West, thank you so much for coming. Good morning, Fayetteville. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. She always brings a couple of people in here, and I appreciate that. We always have great conversations. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC. Right now, we've got local news from CBS 17.
Good morning, I'm Greg Funderburg from the CBS 17 Newsroom. The Fayetteville teen shot at a carnival last year is still fighting to heal, and now her family is asking for your help. Adriana Bethia was just 12 years old when she was shot in a parking lot at a carnival in Fayetteville. Now at 13, she continues to struggle to recover. She has a serious spinal injury that has left her in a wheelchair. She spent much of the summer in the hospital battling an infection after a major spinal surgery earlier this year. Her family needs help making their home more accessible. They need a ramp, medical equipment, and other supplies. Her family has created a GoFundMe account, and you can find that link by going to our website, cbs17.com. And still, more than a year later, no one has been arrested in the shooting. The man accused in a deadly bar shooting in Dunn is behind bars. Police arrested Keeson Stocks on Monday. Officers say he killed 2 people earlier this month at the 601 Club on North Fayetteville Avenue. A man and woman were also hurt in the shooting but survived. A judge denied Stocks bond during his first court appearance yesterday. He's charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a felon. A Harnett County man has a new roof over his head this hour thanks to a scratch-off lottery ticket. According to North Carolina Education Lottery, Raymond Johnson scratched the $1 million top prize over the weekend. This week, he went to pick up his check and chose to receive a lump sum of $600,000. That money went towards buying a house and a car. From the CBS 17 Newsroom, I'm Greg Funderburg.
Today will be partly cloudy with a high of 96. We will be mainly dry, but a stray thunderstorm